Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. First of all, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. Very, very interesting fight card last night, man. You got to give respect to these fighters for getting in there, man, and putting their lives on the line. And one guy last night almost had his life taken, man. Very, very brutal fight. But anyway, you know, when it comes to this boxing stuff, we got to give our predictions. And then you got to sit here and talk about what went wrong. You know what I mean? It's funny as hell to me whenever you do a prediction, you know, you get a lot of them right. You may get one wrong. Nobody has a crystal ball, but it's funny to see the Mick Nicholases who sit back in the bushes and shit. And they're just waiting for somebody to make a prediction and get it wrong. And they come out and say, you don't know shit about boxing, you tail wagger. It's like, what was your prediction? And then they get quiet. Because they don't make a prediction. You know why? Because they don't know a fucking thing about the sport of boxing. And they don't know how to look and analyze and break things down. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into the one that everybody's talking about. And we're going to keep talking about it. And like I say, the best fighter doesn't win. It's the boxer who fights the best on that night. And when it comes to Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., Devin just happened to do the business, right? But I'm going to keep saying that shot he landed, I think, saved Devin. And you got to give him credit for being willing to take the risk and throw a shot. Because that first round with Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., it was all bad. Devin didn't punch. He didn't do anything. And in that second round, listen, when I'm telling you this shit, I'm telling you from fucking experience. When Devin threw that punch in the second round, he knew he trained on throwing that shot. He knew that he had some confidence in the shot, but he wasn't sure if he threw it, whether he would get countered, if he would miss. He wasn't sure, but he mustered up enough courage to let that shot fly. And it landed. And Brian Norman Jr. froze. And Devin hit him with two more shots, put him down. When Brian Norman Jr. got up, Devin went batshit crazy, trying to knock him out. If Devin would have settled down, I think he could have stopped Brian Norman Jr. I think he could have. But he was so anxious, in such a rush, to try to get the fight over with. Because this is just my opinion, I feel like he was like, I don't want to be in the ring with this guy, a knockout puncher, round 7, 8, 9, or 10, where he can catch me with something. And that's why he fought so desperate after he hurt him, and it was him overcompensating to try to get a knockout or get the ref to jump in to stop the fight. Now, some people say Devin wasn't able to finish him off because Devin doesn't have power. I'm going to say this. He had enough power to land a shot on there and freeze him. Okay? He hit him with the freeze ray, the Despicable Me freeze ray. You know what I'm saying? Freeze ray! So I'm not going to come out here and say Devin has no power, but he had power when he needed it, and he needed it for that one shot that landed on the button, and it did enough damage to where Brian Norman Jr. was hesitant, was reluctant. He second-guessed himself the rest of the fight. Now, there's something else that came up about acclimating. Now, if you've been following the channel, you know I've been talking about fighters going overseas, especially to Saudi. I lived in Saudi. I've been to all different kinds of, I've been to multiple countries for different reasons, right? But I even talked about going places, arriving at 2 in the effing morning off of like a 16-hour effing flight, or I'd say, just overall travel time, and getting there at 2 in the morning and knowing I had to be at an effing briefing at 6, 7 o'clock, and making that choice to not sleep. Because once you get in, you get situated and get everything put away, 3 hours of sleep, being jet lagged, that's worse. Trying to get up after 3 hours of sleep than just staying up. Load up with coffee, get into my briefings, and just dying during the day. Let me tell you something. One of the most horrible feelings I ever experienced during my time, my 25 years with what I was doing, right, was getting places and fucking just pushing through to try to stay up, to try to acclimate. That shit was horrible. It used to take me like 3-4 days. Now, that's with me, a guy who's very disciplined, just pushing. You know what I'm saying? But what we're finding out now is that, there are fighters who get over there to Saudi Arabia, and some of them don't acclimate. And I know they're fighting at different times, and they're over there in Saudi Arabia. They're gonna have them fighting at all these weird times. But what I'm gonna say is this: if it's true what Bill Haney said, then absolute foul on Brian Norman Sr. if what Bill Haney is saying is true, because at the same, I'm not gonna say a foul. Maybe they didn't think they needed more time to acclimate. But anyway, forget what I'm saying. Listen to this.
I like Brian Norman. I think he'll put an opportunity.
I'll tell you. Shout out to, once again, Virgil Hunter. We've spent a lot of time with professors in the game and learned this craft. They've learned it, unfortunately, in a garage.
But honestly, though,
and he wanted to go at me. And one thing about my son, he says that you don't give me the respect, so I come up and I get mine. I'm gonna get mine off because you disrespect me all the time. And you say, listen, he was out coached. He showed up late. He was too cocky and too arrogant. We showed up on November the. You say, listen, he was out coached. He showed up late. He showed up late. He was too cocky and too arrogant. We showed up on November the 2nd as challengers here. We got acclimated, right? By the time they showed up, we was already sparring at 4 a.m. He never had any days to get acclimated, guys. He never had any days to get acclimated, guys. He never had any days to get acclimated, guys. He never had any days to get acclimated, guys. He was moving slow. His dad made a bad decision.
What you think about that? Bill Haney just admitted, and he gave us a little peek behind the tent flaps, what actually was going on out there in Saudi Arabia. Brian Norman Sr., according to Bill Haney, he made a choice to arrive last minute to Saudi Arabia with his son for the biggest fight of his son's career, and he didn't plan properly. And I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this shit. I've been saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. Now, if what Bill Haney is saying is true, that could have a whole lot to do with Brian Norman Jr. and the way he looked in the ring. Now, I want to make sure I put this out there before anything, because, the McNicholases only hear what they want to hear. If Devin would not have landed that punch, I do believe Brian Norman Jr. would have fought with all the confidence in the world and would have had the stamina and energy in the world because he was in shape. However, at the same time, I will tell you, if you're sleep deprived, if your internal clock is off, you can't have the awareness you need to react quick enough to someone who already has fast hands throwing a shot at you. But that's not Devin Haney's fault. That's Team Norman's fault. And what Bill is saying there, if it's true, he's spot on. You can't, and you would think the Normans, maybe when they went to Japan, they figured they didn't need a whole lot of time to be over there. A week was enough. Maybe. But I'm going to tell you, sometimes That shit don't work. I've seen people. We get to the TDY location, deployed location, and we're there for 4 months, and people never adjust. They never acclimate to the weather, to the time, to the food, nothing. Their 4 months is horrible. And they can't perform. I've seen that shit. I'm not making this up. I'm not like a lot of the McNicholases out here who've never experienced none of this shit. I'm telling you firsthand what I've seen. And when you out there in an environment where you got to have awareness, but your internal clock is off a little bit, doesn't work out that good. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't. But anyway, Devin Haney does the business. My thing is, okay, what's next with him? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But Bill Haney, he's going to come out here and he has things to say. So let's see what old Bill has to say.
I mean, he's 33 and up, right? We keep talking about one fight or this fight or that. I mean, which one? I mean, do we still talk about Lomachenko, should I say beat the shit out of him? No, you got that. See, you didn't even smile or nothing about it. And I'm saying this, do we talk about that? Or we talk about steroid using Ryan Garcia, who came back and lost bad to Rolly. So the fake narratives, if you're going to tell them, let's tell everything. When Devin said if you violate, he's going to demonstrate, Jose Ramirez didn't violate. We pitched a shutout. But did you see the way that Brian Norman, he came in and he got put on his ass? That's what's going to happen when you violate you. That's not boxing.
When you violate, they're going to demonstrate. Did Brian Norman Jr. fight the wrong fight? That's my question. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think he fought the wrong fight. I think he did what he was supposed to do, man. The first round was a Brian Norman Jr. round. I'm going to tell you what I think happened. I think he let his guard down for a moment. Devin, I don't think Devin did that intentionally. It's like a trap was set. But Devin not letting his hands go, I think that made Brian Norman Jr.'s team feel, okay, this is going to be an easy fight. He's not letting his hands go. He doesn't have the confidence. He's uncertain. Go in there, step to him, knock him out. I think that's what happened. I think the way the first round went gave Brian Norman Jr. A type of confidence to where he felt there was nothing to worry about because nothing came back at him. Went out there in the second round, didn't expect for anything to come at him. And Devin was coiled up like a rattlesnake and he striked. And when he striked, he landed big, and he put some venom into Brian Norman Jr. And that venom just over the course of the fight just started to spread from the mind to the extremities to the heart, and then it just eventually overtook his body. And Brian Norman Jr. just never recovered. There was a little bit of paralysis that set in. But anyway, I'm looking forward for Brian Norman Jr. next. Sounds like there is going to be a rematch. He said he'll see Devin soon. He was a champion. I do believe that he gave Devin an opportunity. I believe Devin should give him the rematch. The thing about being over there in Saudi and fighting with Turki Al-Sheikh, Turki Al-Sheikh wants drama. He doesn't want dominance. And he may feel that Devin dominated that fight. He may feel that he didn't get the drama. And as a result, he may take Devin a different direction. Now, for those of you who are saying Brian Norman Jr. is going to get the rematch, I'm telling you, I don't know. But what I will tell you is this. Zhilei Zhang went in as an interim WBO champion, fought Joseph Parker. There's supposed to be a rematch, and he didn't get it. Turki Al-Sheikh took Joseph Parker, took him a different direction. So Zhilei Zhang never got the rematch. So when you're working with Turki Al-Sheikh and these guys are independently working their deals with Turki Al-Sheikh, you're going to do what Turki Al-Sheikh wants. He's putting up the money. It's whatever fight he wants. So there's two fights I think that are on the table for Devin. I think it could be a Brian Norman Jr. rematch or Ryan Garcia. Now for you McNicholases out there, Hear this and hold your horses. Stop taking it to the stupid. Devin Haney wants the Ryan Garcia rematch. Brian Norman Jr. wants the Devin Haney rematch. Ryan Garcia is about to fight Mario Barrios for the WBC strap. So for those of you who don't follow and listen to what's going on in boxing, shut up. There's no other way for me to say. I'm not going to say you need to remain reticent. I'm not going to say nothing. No, just shut the fuck up. What fight is bigger than Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia? The rematch. For Devin. I'm waiting on you, Mick Nicholas. Devin has a strap at 147 now. If Ryan beats Barrios, I don't think he beats him. But if he does, well, then it's on. Then Ryan will have a strap. WBO, WBC, a unification. That fight between Devin and Ryan just became much bigger. But Ryan has to do his part. He's got to beat Barrios. I'm telling you, Barrios is not an easy fight. But if he gets past him, I'm telling you, that fight just became 10 times bigger. and for anyone out there who's saying that Devin is back, Debo Dev, yeah, he showed us all that he's beyond the Ryan Garcia defeat, and how Ryan Garcia, who was on pads, was tearing pounds of flesh out of Devin Haney's face. Let me tell you something. Devin didn't prove to me that he's beyond anything with Ryan Garcia. He didn't prove anything. What Devin proved to me was he was able to muster enough courage to take a risk and let a shot fly. And it was a shot from the gods that landed on Brian Norman Jr. And y'all can say what you want. We can agree to disagree. That's what that shit was. Devin wasn't jabbing. He wasn't setting nothing up. He wasn't letting his hands go. He wasn't taking any risk. He waited, coiled up like a rattlesnake. He was watching. He saw an opportunity, and he just said, you know what, fuck it. And he just threw it, and it landed. And that was a shot from the gods. Just like Andy Ruiz fighting Anthony Joshua. Andy Ruiz wasn't doing much of anything. He got hit. Bing! He went down like real estate depreciation. Rolled around on the canvas, looked up like, what the hell was that? Got up. Joshua, confidence, because the first round wasn't much going on. Andy Ruiz wasn't really doing much, wasn't letting his hands go, kind of like Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. Joshua got confidence, started letting his hands go. He hurt Andy Ruiz. Andy Ruiz got up. Joshua was trying to get him out of there with all the confidence, not worried about what was coming back, and Andy Ruiz landed some shit on him. Joshua never recovered, and we saw what happened. With Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney, it's the same thing. It's a confidence thing. He got a lot of confidence, wasn't really worried about anything coming back, and he got hit with something. Okay, so I truly feel that's what the case is now. And Devin clinched a lot. Devin really is great. He's really great at stalling. He's really great at running that clock down. And he obviously has some power. Not in his fist necessarily. I'm talking about the strength, because I saw he was holding on to Brian Norman Jr. But then again, Brian Norman Jr. he just seemed like he never fully recovered. But even Devin was, kind of manhandling him at some points in the ring. And I was like, shit. So it was, what Devin did was a good job. But hey, as a matter of fact, his job was so good that even Brian Norman Sr. gave Devin credit.
Obviously, a lot of people, from looking online as well, felt that maybe your son picked up the first round, but then the second round came as a bit of a shock to see Devin drop your son. What went through your mind in that moment, and how much of an influence did that second round, you think, have on the coming rounds?
Yeah, I think that's probably what set the tone and made him maybe not want to punch. Because I always say, if anybody listening to me, I always tell you, power is what make you, not fight like you fight. You understand what I'm saying? You just made me think about that. So that might have been what it was that had him not wanting to punch. That might have been what it was that had him not wanting to throw like he threw or whatever else. Because after the knockdown, after that round, I felt like he was fine. Like he was the same. talking to him in the corner, he was alert. He could do the things he could do or whatever else. Like I said, to me, it just wasn't firing on the cylinders. Maybe it's somewhere in the back of his mind, the knockdown got to him. I don't know. But as far as the fight itself, after the knockdown, I think he was fine.
With the sequence of punches that produced that knockdown, what did you think, and why kind of your son allowed that to happen?
I don't think it's really an allow it to happen. I don't think he really allowed it to happen. Right. I mean, I like to give credit to the other fighter because there's two in the ring. Like I said, it takes two. So the other fighter can create that kind of situation and make it happen or whatever else. And he found a good shot. It's boxing. Anybody can get hurt. Anybody can get clipped. I always say it. He got clipped, and that's what it was. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I just credit it to Devin Haney being a good fighter, whatever else, and maybe putting the combination together to produce that situation.
Was Devin better than what you thought he would be?
Absolutely. He was a lot better than what I thought he would be. He was a lot stronger than I thought he would be. He was, he was a lot better than I thought he would be. Bottom line, yeah.
So they're giving Devin Haney his credit, and that's good to see. So there's no need for no one to come out here and try to take credit away from Devin Haney, man. When you got Team Norman giving him credit, you gotta respect that. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, what if I put you down?
You can't.
I can't.
Boy, you ain't got nothing in them gloves.
Remember this day. Remember this day. I'm telling you, he shook him with that left hook. The monster's hurt. The assassin is rocked right now. I'll put you down.
You can't.
I can't.
Pepe.
What if I put you down?
You can't. Pepe.
What if I put you down?
You can't.
Devin put him down, huh? But the rematch is going to be even more interesting now. It really is going to be interesting. But I tell you what, there's a lot of people supporting Devin Haney. Even Terrence Crawford. He's like, y'all talk all that shit about Devin. He went out there and shut a lot of people up once again. Some people are saying that Terrence Crawford is coming out showing support because, they're both snack fighters. And that brings me to my next conversation point. I'll say this, right? These fighters who are working with snack, okay? What's the story? Now, I don't think it's right to come out here and accuse them of any foul play. These guys have been working with snack for how long now? And winning and dominating and not testing positive for anything. So you got to put some respect on snack. And rest in peace to Victor Conti, right? Because I don't believe in talking about the deceased. But for the people out here who are feeling like, oh, it's a snack thing you wouldn't understand, I get the conversation. I get the jokes. I enjoy that kind of conversation. It's just a conversation, right? But I don't think it's right to come out here and say, Devin, I'll show you what they said because it tripped me out. Okay, right here. Says Devin Haney looked like he was on some type of PEDs or steroids in my 100% honest opinion. Something was definitely odd about that fight. Athletes in many sports have found ways to use drugs that are microdosed, timed to avoid detection, or chemically structured to pass tests. Or Victor Conti left them the recipe for that snack. I'm not giving Haney no credit. Let me just say this. I understand. I understand how somebody could wonder how snack fighters do what they do. I could understand how somebody can have suspicions about microdosing, about PED usage. And the reason why I can understand that is because Victor Conti did come out here and, may he rest in peace, and he did say that he knows if he wanted a fighter or an athlete to pass a VADA test, he knows what measures to take to make sure they pass it. Okay. Now I'm paraphrasing, but the bottom line, he said he knows how to pass the test. And that's why I think sometimes when people get a microphone put in front of them or they get an opportunity to do an interview, to me sometimes there's some things you don't say. Just don't say anything. Because you give people ammunition, you give them content, you give them an opportunity to poke you in the eyeball or take something and really take it and run all the way left with it. And I think that's what happened. Because with me, I never thought much about anything. We know Victor Conte and Angel Heredia, and we understand the scandal. We understand what happened, the guys going to jail. And look, it happened, it came back, seemed to have cleaned up his act, but I could understand somebody always keeping a hairy eyeball on you. Now, for those of y'all who are saying it's wrong for people to look at the snack program and to question it, to that I say, in the most respectful way, hey, yo, you, McNicholas, hold your horses, stop taking it to the stupid. It is not wrong. It's natural. You say your son has a friend, and the friend comes to your house, and you catch that little bastard stealing, okay? Then he comes, he apologizes, he brings it back. Sorry, sir, ma'am, I will never do that again. And then you give it about 6 months. You forgive the little bastard. Then they come back to your house. Something ends up missing again. You immediately going to look at him. And then you find out it was your son or daughter misplaced something or something fell behind the dresser or whatever it is. But you're immediately going to sit back and say, this guy. And that's what happens. When there's this stigma placed on you, or you get labeled, that's what happens. Same thing like if you're someone people feel they can depend on. That's what happens. This is a good person. You can depend on them. Oh, something, who did this? I didn't ask anyone to do this. Thanks so much for doing this. Oh, it must have been so-and-so because they're the kind of person who's proactive and they just lean forward and do things. They don't wait till they're told. They see something that needs to be done and they do it. Then you find out it wasn't that person, it was someone else. And you're like, oh shit, my bad, I thought it was this guy. So there's pros and cons, there's good and bad to all that. And that's why I think when it comes to the snack program, a lot of people still to this day, even I ain't gonna lie, when I watch, even I wonder, I don't necessarily believe no one's cheating, but I do wonder, you know, and I've read up on it, you know, the snack program and what they do and recovery and stuff like that. It's just amazing to see how the guys who are working with snack, how they perform. And look, not all of them win. Not all of them win. But those guys and girls look really good. But I just don't think it's fair to come out here and suggest that Devin's microdosing to suggest any of that, you know. So I'm not going to say that. But I'll entertain the conversation because it makes for a good conversation. But anyway, I just think Devin, at this point in time, Devin just deserves right now, he deserves credit, you know, for what he did. You know, Devin Haney is that guy. Matter of fact, we're going to see if they really try to make Devin Haney against Conor Benn. But I don't know. Eddie Hearn, he doesn't seem to be too thrilled about a Devin Haney Conor Benn fight. There's some money there, but he just feels like it'll be a boring fight.
You know, they're not happy with my comments, but it's just not good to watch.
Thinking media, Eddie Hearn, it's 7 a.m. I think it is. Cold, tired. Devin Haney, talking about Devin Haney, how impressed were you with his performance?
I mean, look, you've got to give him the credit because he's become a 3-division world champion, but it's just not good to watch. He doesn't want to engage, he doesn't want, which is right, you know, I mean, that, but, you know, they're not happy with my comments because I just said the truth. Like, it doesn't look, his eyes wide open the whole fight, like, and he was always been a smart technical fighter, but look, he beat an undefeated fighter and he became world champion, so credit to him.
Conor Benn, how does Conor Benn beat someone like him who, like you said, does not want to get hit?
Look, he's not easy to beat because he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want to, and that's smart. Like, I'm not saying, but it's just not, you know, and it's not like, oh, you wouldn't put your guys in with him because you can't beat him. He's difficult to beat because he doesn't want to engage. He's holding, he's grabbing, he's not doing anything. I mean, after he dropped Brian Norman really heavily, All he had to do was step on him. We would have stopped him. It would have been a great performance. But I'm just saying, people are watching that. You know.
There's obviously talks with Conor tonight and Turkey. Have they suggested anyone else other than Devin?
We're in a winner of Ryan Garcia against Maris Barros. Las Vegas, Cinco de Mayo. That's what we want.
Last thing, Ages announced Igor Holub as his trainer. What does he bring to the table away from Benavidez?
Good team, great training camp, smart minds, smart people, good motivation for AJ, and ready for a big night against Jake Paul.
Yes.
So Eddie Hearn, what he said was spot on. With Devin Haney, the way he fights is smart, but Devin Haney does not want to take risks. But he also said something that I think we need to really pay attention. He said, as far as the next fight, gotta listen. Conor Ben will get the winner of Ryan Garcia, Mario Barrios. Now, I still think Devin would like that Ryan Garcia rematch, but I also feel the Brian Norman Jr. rematch is something that probably is going to take place before anything. But listen what Eddie said. If Eddie said Conor Ben gets the win of Ryan Garcia Barrios, you know why he's saying that? Because he's already talked with Turki Al-Sheikh, and they've already planned out Conor Ben's next fight, and that's why Conor Ben is just sitting there in the breeze waiting to make the fight happen. Now, I think that Ryan Garcia, because he's a bigger name, Ryan Garcia, Conor Ben is a much bigger fight. But Barrios and Conor Ben is still a huge fight. All of those fights are difficult fights. Like those, I don't know who wins out of those fights. Those are real interesting fights. The one thing about Conor Ben is he can't fight backing up. But when it comes to Devin Haney, if Conor Ben, Ryan, and Mario Barrios are being associated with each other as far as fights being made, where does that leave Devin Haney? Who's there for Devin Haney to fight? That's why you got to pay attention. It'll probably be Brian Norman Jr. Where is that? Here it is right here. Oh, well, that's a picture of Brian Norman Jr. Let me just show y'all this right here. Now, this is Brian Norman Jr. Now, as far as that eye that's closed up, that eye is closed up because he got headbutt in the eye. Now, there are a lot of people saying that Devin Debo Haney did that to his eye. But what really happened there was he got headbutt. He got headbutt in the eye. Let me show y'all this right here. I want y'all to hear what Brian Norman Jr. said. It's gonna probably be a bit of an eye opener for you. Let me see if I can find it. There was a clip of him talking. Here it is right here.
Norman Jr., not your night tonight against Devin Haney. Just sum up to me the thoughts and feelings a couple of minutes, I guess, after the fight.
Sure, it's a part of that game. That's what I signed up for. But y'all best believe y'all gonna see me again real soon.
Yeah. Was there anything that Devin done that surprised you today?
No, not really. Not at all. It was all on my end.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, there was the knockdown as well. What was going through your mind at that moment when it happened?
Sure, like, keep going. That's all it was. Of course, I got caught with something, most of a flash knockdown. But sure, I got right back up, got right back into the action.
Yeah, obviously, just speaking there about the headbutt as well. Did that, I guess, cause a problem for yourself, would you say?
Slightly. I mean, when I felt the headbutt, it was like, hey, it is what it is. I think it was like around 10, 11, or 12. It was close to the end, so I said, hey, you don't need to see anyway. Just keep throwing punches. So that was the whole game plan when I got caught with the headbutt.
How much do you feel like you learned, from this fight?
Learned a lot about myself. That's all that mattered. I learned a lot.
Well, I guess, what was it like being in the ring with Devin? I know you said there was nothing he'd done in surprise.
Yeah, but just another guy, just another opponent. Of course, he was the better man, but it's just this what I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. How much, I guess, does it spur you on, I guess, for the future now? How much does that spur you on for the future now, wanting to win a world title once again?
Oh yeah, I'm alive. He gonna see me again real soon.
Okay. Look, Brian, appreciate the time as always. Good to chat to you now. Obviously, appreciate the time throughout this build up as well. It's been brilliant. So,
appreciate you.
I guess just on that as well, how's it been special? I guess, to be a part of a massive fight for yourself on a big stage. How was that been?
Oh, it was cool. I mean, this is what I do for a living. This is what I love to do as a passion. So that part I wasn't really thinking about it that much. It was just about throwing hands.
Yeah, before I do let you go, have you got a message, I guess, to the fans of, and you know, you've gained a lot of new fans now. I guess any message to the fans? Or?
I love y'all. I appreciate y'all, and you best believe I'm still here. This ain't stopping nothing. Matter of fact, I'm coming back even harder, and y'all gonna see about me real deal soon, and he gonna see about me real deal soon as well.
Brilliant. Appreciate it.
Rematch. That's what I heard. The rematch is coming. So anyway, better believe it, man. I'm glad because I got a lot of respect for Devin. He took the risk, he threw a shot. But I like what Eddie Hearn said. Devin doesn't want to get out here, man. He's always been a defense first fighter, safety first fighter. And that's not bad. That's just his style. But we're going to see in the rematch how that fight goes. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see. What can Devin do better? What can Brian Norman Jr. do better? And you know what would be interesting? What if Brian Norman Jr. decided that he wants to work with Snack? Then what happens? Anyway, man, that's enough of me talking about Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney. It is what it is when it comes to those guys in that fight. This right here is pretty cool photos. Devin deserves all the credit in the world. Look at his body, man. The boy's in shape. Looks good, man. Looks healthy. Man, that's a real image right there. Man. Tell you, man, those guys, they're not tickling each other in there. That's some serious shit right there, boy. That's a vicious photo. Damn, that's a vicious photo right there. Damn. These guys going at it, man. You got to put some respect on their names because of what they're doing and what they put themselves through. Not everybody would get in the ring and do this, man. That's why most people sit back and just talk shit. They won't even go spar, much less get in there and try to work towards something like this. Like, you know what I mean? These guys deserve a whole lot of respect, man. A whole lot of respect. Anyway, Abdullah Mason did the business, man. I think Abdullah Mason's gonna learn a whole lot from this fight. That fight, Abdullah Mason, although I picked him to win, I said that that's not an easy fight. I try to tell people. Matter of fact, where's my thing at? Because I actually gave breakdowns here. Where is that YouTube short? I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Okay, here it is right here. I told you that fight was gonna be one of those tough fights. So I might as well show y'all, right? Let me pause this. Okay, listen to this. Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. I will be going live tonight. Now, people were asking me as far as my predictions for tonight. And I'm going to tell you, man, I got Bam beating Martinez. I think it's going to be fairly easy, although Martinez is tough. I think Bam does the business with no problem. Abdullah Mason and Sam Noak, hopefully I'm pronouncing his last name correctly. That is not an easy fight. The more I watch Sam Noakes and learn about him, I got Abdullah Mason. I think with his sharpness, with his accuracy, I think his size, I think he should get the win. But I would not be surprised if Noakes won the fight. I'm just telling you, that guy can fight, man. He can hit. But we're gonna see if Mason is really that special of a fighter. You know, sometimes with matchmaking, you can get these fighters that look really, really good. And when they step up, they fall short. So that's the fight I got the hairy eyeball on. I think Abdullah Mason should get the win, but I would not be surprised. It wouldn't shock me if Noakes got the win by knockout. Both of them can fight. Both of them can crack. It may be a matter of who lands first. With Brian Norman Jr. and Devin Haney, everybody knows. I got Brian Norman Jr. winning that fight. Devin Haney can scrap. I'm telling you, Devin Haney can fight. Did you hear what I said? Devin Haney can scrap. I'm telling you, Devin Haney can scrap. For all you McNicholases who hear what you want to hear, listen to what I said.
I just think it boils down to one guy who's confident, another guy's uncertain.
One guy's confident, the other guy's uncertain. The confidence for Brian Norman Jr. was on full display. The uncertainty from Devin Haney was on full display in that first round.
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, Devin Haney can fight.
I'm telling you, Devin Haney can fight. There it goes again for you McNicholases who want to fly in the comments and drop shit off. Screw you, head champion, you bastard, you tail wagger. You don't know anything about boxing. You thought Norman was going to win. Yeah, I did. But I also said Devin Haney can scrap, and I'm giving you the reason why I think Devin Haney's going to lose. So just shut up and listen. Class is in session.
I would before I would have picked Devin in a lot of fights. I just don't think he's going to want to take risks.
Before I would have picked Devin in a lot of fights. I just don't think he's going to want to take risks. Did you hear that?
You know, I don't think he's going to want to put himself, make himself vulnerable to where he gets hit with something. And we all know Brian Norman Jr. hits hard. When you watch somebody, knock people out cold, that plays on your mental, especially when you're coming off of a fight where you were beaten down. I'm talking about Ryan Garcia. We know Ryan was on pads. That's awful what happened to Devin. But the bottom line is he got beat down. And then with the Ramirez was a joke. So I'm not sure Devin is beyond that. Then the Yardy and Benavidez, first 4 rounds is the toss-up. After that, I think Benavidez starts to pull away.
This went the way I said it would go. First 4 rounds is a toss-up. Benavidez starts to pull away. But I did also say that I thought I wouldn't be surprised if Yardy got a knockout because he has the one-shot power. But Yardy wasn't throwing. I don't know what the hell was wrong with Yardy. He didn't throw nothing with any power. I don't understand. But anyway, just listen to the rest.
But that's another fight. I wouldn't be surprised if Yardy won and won by knockout. But I think Benavidez should get so. A couple of fights are very clear to me. Bam beats Martinez. Brian Norman Jr. beats Devin. But I would not be surprised if Mason loses to Noakes and Benavidez loses to Yardy. Those guys, those are pretty evenly matched fights, I'm telling you. Anyway, I'm gonna enjoy them. I'll be live, so we'll talk about it. Keep cool, I'm in the breeze.
So those are my predictions, and I explained why I picked those guys. Bam was straightforward, wasn't much to talk about. An extremely talented guy against a tough guy. Noakes and Mason went kind of how I thought. Some people thought Noakes won that fight. I knew that fight was going to be tough. Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr. Devin wasn't taking risks. He took one, it landed, changed the fight. Devin, very fortunate. Anybody who sees something different, well, you can leave it in the comments. But Devin deserves all the credit. And you know what? If it only took one risk for you to win the fight, then that's fine. Just like if you go out here and you go to the goddamn local corner store and you buy a lottery ticket, one ticket, and you win $100 million. You didn't need to buy 1,000 of them because it was the one ticket got the job done. And that's what I think. I think that was Devin Haney's lottery ticket, that one shot. And it paid off big. He hit the jackpot. Okay? Can't be mad at him because he didn't come out here and do all the other things that we would like to see fighters do. No. He fought the fight he wanted to fight, and he won. So you gotta give a man credit. You gotta give him credit, man. It's like somebody having 100 pair of sneakers. How many goddamn pair of sneakers you gonna wear? How many pair of sneakers you need? He won. But you see some people with 100, 1,000, all these damn pairs of shoes. That's dumb to me. Then with Benavidez and Yardy, I don't know what happened with Yardy in even the first, second, third round. I'm like, where's your power? He wasn't sitting on the shots. I don't know what he was doing. He was pawing with his shots and like sparring and playing around. He almost looked happy to just be there. he just looked like he was happy to be there. Yardy didn't fight like a guy who was trying to win. It's like he was just happy to be there. So a lot of respect to Yardy, but David Benavidez is the kind of guy who will invite you to his house, let you sit down. He and his wife cook food for you. You'll eat. You know you're on bad times. He'll give you $100,000. Here you go, man. Don't worry about repaying me. And then you have a fight coming up. He's like, oh, well, we got to fight. And you out there like, okay, well, we're friends. This guy gave me $100,000. He came over, he and his wife, welcomed me in like family. They fed me. We laughed together, cried together. Now we got a fight coming up, and you get in the ring with David, and you're thinking more like, okay, this isn't gonna be too bad. And you get in there, and David tries to kill your ass, and you're like, what the fuck? I thought we were cool. And David Benavidez is a black and white guy. He's like, if we get in that ring to fight, he doesn't care who it is. I don't care how old you are, how young you are, how inexperienced you are, how in shape you are, how out of shape you are. He's going to try to kill your ass. So going forward, what happens with David Benavidez? I'm telling you right now, David Benavidez will kill Zurdo Ramirez. I know Malik Scott freaking Maliki, he gonna come and tell you Zurdo is the man. Zurdo's the man. You got to look at this from technically and tactically and psychologically, and you look at this from a perspective of someone who, you got to understand, I've been doing this since I've been 13, 12 years old. Shit, this is all I know. It's 30 years plus in the game. This is all I know. This is all I've been doing. You know, I understand people aren't going to think that highly of me because I went to Deontay Wilder's camp and turned Wilder into Malik Scott. But hey, look, doesn't matter. He was my springboard, got my wife, and look where I'm at now. I'm okay. He's not. Hardy har har. Malik Scott, hold your horse and stop taking it to the goddamn stupid. Even Malik Scott knows Zurdo Ramirez ain't beating no damn David Benavidez. Get out of here with that bullshit. Beating no damn David Benavidez. Are you crazy? Benavidez is a problem. You gotta hit Benavidez and hurt him, and you gotta put him down. You gotta have that man dancing salsa in the ring. You gotta get his equilibrium off and knock him out cold. David Benavidez should be banned from boxing. Yeah, I said it. Ban him from boxing. Not because I think he's on peds. Not because I think he's a dirty fighter. Because he wants to kill. And he's going to kill somebody. Ban his ass from boxing. David Benavidez is violence on two legs. That fucker does not care. But I respect that, man. I respect that about him. And that's how you gotta be. Because you know what? If he gets in there and he takes his foot off the gas, somebody else gonna do that shit to him. So I agree. I agree with David Benavidez doing the business and letting his hands go. I got a lot of respect for David Benavidez, man. Matter of fact, you see his little son, he got the little jump throwing combinations. They're gonna be a little Benavidez Jr., another one. They got another one coming down the pipeline and shit. But enough respect to the Benavidez team. Enough respect to Yardy. I respect Yardy a lot. I'm glad these guys are making good money. But for Benavidez, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. The only person, well, Bivol and Benavidez will be an interesting fight. Beterbiev and Benavidez will be an interesting fight. But the one that I find the most intriguing, it's not no damn Zurdo Ramirez, and it sure as hell ain't Badu Jack. Apataya. He's another one. That shit should be titled The Battle of the Crazies. Because Jai Apataya has got some Sesame Street in his ass too. That mother, he another one, man. Apataya will kill your ass in the ring. He doesn't care. Does not care, man. And you can look in his eyes and see he don't care. He doesn't care. Him and David Benavidez, that shit would pop off. And Benavidez wouldn't come in there and just run through Jai Apataya. But it would be a real good fight. If you ask me who wins, I think Jai, but I don't know. It's hard to go against David Benavidez, man. When you got a fighter who just finds a way to be perfect, it's hard to go against him. And Jai Patai is another one, just found a way to be perfect. Hard to go against him, man. Really, really good fights, man. So, anyway, good job to David Benavidez. Good job to Devin Haney. Man, good job to Brian Norman Jr. Good job to Yardy. I'm still rocking with Brian Norman Jr. I just like him and his pops. I like the chemistry. I respect the relationship between Devin and his dad. I like the chemistry between them. I always admire, man, fighters who are with their dads. I always say, stick with your dad. Never leave your dad. You can bring somebody else on to help y'all out, but never get rid of your father. That's why when Shane Mosley had his dad and he left his dad to go work with Nazim Richardson, I didn't think highly of that. Bring someone on to help out, but never walk away from your pops. And again, me saying that is because of how I grew up, very close to my father, and I have 4 sons and we're all close. And fuck that money and all that. Don't ever allow anyone to create separation between you and your dad. That's why I like to see David Benavidez, and there were some rumors about him and his dad and not working together. Fuck that. Sometimes you're going to have bumps and bruises, ups and downs, man, when it comes to your relationship with family, especially father and son or whatever. But you can't walk away from your child, and the child shouldn't walk away from the parent. But sometimes, you may need a little time, man, take a little breather and shit, but you come back stronger than ever, man. So I have a lot of respect for all these fighters who have their fathers training them, and they're finding success. Even if they have a loss here and there, who gives a fuck? You know what I'm saying? They're finding success. They've overcame the odds, and they've done well. So a lot of respect for those guys. A lot of respect goes to Bam, Virgil Ortiz. A lot of people don't know Bam was schooled up by his own pops. You know what I'm saying? He with Robert Garcia, but a lot of people don't know. But Bam Rodriguez is a product of his dad. Virgil Ortiz is a product of his dad. A lot of these fighters you see are products of their fathers. Okay, so you got to give them credit. For Devin Haney and Bill, look, I still believe this. Even Bill says it. Bill didn't know boxing. They surrounded themselves with smart people. Devin Haney is a product of the community, a boxing community. And that's where you got to give Bill a lot of credit for recognizing that in order to make my son a dominant fighter, I want to make sure that he gets a little bit from everybody to where he's well-rounded and he can not only offensively show levels to his game, but defensively he can show levels to his game, and that he has the IQ that'll be unmatched, because anything they do, he should be able to do it better. And that's definitely showing up. It shows up in his fights. So you gotta give a lot of credit to these guys. Anyway, man, I'm about to go run. Time for me to go jog, man. And I'm not gonna go live during my jog. I did this. This is basically like a live, But that shit was good last night. But Abdul Mason, I think he's gonna come back and be better than ever. Even though he won, I think he learned a lot from that fight. A lot from that fight. Anyway, man, y'all keep cool. That's 53 minutes of me running my mouth. Got 3 or 4 right, 75%. Devin did something I didn't think he would do. He bought himself a lottery ticket, and he hit the jackpot. And whether you like it or not, you got to get a man credit. For Brian Norman Jr., I saw somebody say, don't jump off the bandwagon now. You better support him and keep that same energy. Fuckhead. Who you think you're talking to, a 13-year-old? The fuck out of here. Take that young boy shit elsewhere. Nobody keep that same meal. Take that bullshit elsewhere. We don't do that over here. We talk boxing. You know what I'm saying? The best fighter doesn't always win. It's the fighter who boxes the best on that night. You know what I mean? You flip-flop. I don't flip-flop. I still rock with Brian Norman Jr. But I'll also say he showed that getting hurt, he wasn't able to make adjustments. So they got things they got to work on. But take that shit elsewhere, man. This is a real boxing channel over here. We don't have favorites. Anyway, y'all keep cool. To all the McNicholases out there, make sure you floss and brush your teeth. Clean your stinking ass. And I'm in the breeze.